All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. Glad you could all join me here today here on Coach Eli 2 Uncensored Live Streams. This is going to be the first, I can't even speak, the first of 3 live streams I'm going to be doing today, a trifecta, and have a lot of great content for you folks. Some of it will include my lady. Some of it's going to be just myself. Before we get to all of that and this brief stream to kick things off regarding this trifecta here today, let me first of all make sure that everything is running smoothly. Let me check out the back end of YouTube and make sure that that is rolling. And there it goes. It's rolling very well. And just waiting for that notification to pop up. Should be popping up any second. And there it is. The notification has gone out. So on this brief show, which is going to be 30 minutes or less, I'm going to be discussing relationships are a huge struggle in the modern world. My experiences. One more time. Relationships are a huge struggle in the modern world. My experiences. I'm going to start off here in the studio, and after 30 minutes or so, I'm going to take a little break and set up another stream, a walking stream that will happen within about 45 minutes after this one ends. That will happen on my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas. If you have not already subscribed to Coach Eli, Elias Melas on my main channel, please go ahead and do so. Nightbot, hopefully we'll start sharing the link every 7 minutes or so. But if not, go to youtube.com/Life Coach Eli. That's youtube.com/Life Coach Eli. And right after this show ends, I'm going to set up a walking stream, and about 45 minutes afterwards, it will start. But let's get to the topic of today's show. Relationships are a huge struggle in the modern world. My experiences. Yeah, lots of people tuning in, and you're all thinking that there's trouble in paradise between my girlfriend and I. And I will just answer that question right away. So if you just want to leave, you can leave. There is no problem. We're together. We're in love. But I'm not going to lie, and she's not going to lie. It is a struggle. It is a struggle. It has been a struggle. And it's not because we don't love each other. There are reasons why I firmly believe every single couple in this modern world is struggling. And that is something that my lady and I will be discussing at some point later tonight here on Coach Eli 2. That's going to come as the third part of this trifecta later this evening. And that is going to be the topic of, power struggle. The power struggle in modern world dating or something like that. I'm going to give it some fancy title that's searchable, right? Some catchy title, right? And we're going to talk about it. And I will tell you this, let's first start off by, 22 people here already. That's so interesting. Thank you for being here. 23 now. You're all wondering if my lady and I broke up. I mean, I got to tell you, this YouTube, people just don't want to see people be happy, right? It's like people don't want to hear about people's happiness, but when they assume something goes wrong, they all tune in, right? And this just cracks me up, right? Because I'm a positive guy, and so is my lady. And just because we have some struggles in our relationship like everybody does nowadays because of the modern world, that doesn't mean we're breaking up. It doesn't mean there's trouble in paradise, right? It just really cracks me up. Let me make sure that the audio sounds okay. I should check that. For being here. 23 now. Sounds pretty good. So let's start off by discussing what happened last night. Last night, my lady and I were doing, there's Nightbot sharing the link to my main channel in case you want to subscribe and catch the Walking with Purpose stream coming right after this stream ends here. Last night, my lady and I were doing part 3 of our Millennial Special. And that stream has been put to private. It was abruptly ended. I'm not going to get too far into it. I don't have a whole lot of time to get into it. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter. But we put it to private because we realized that it just wasn't done as best as possible. Okay. And, we understand maybe some people, may have a copy of it or whatever. And we really don't care. We really don't care what people think about it. Yes, my lady and I, we had some spats on the show. And, some things happened on there. We were over talking to each other and stuff like that. But, she's still learning, how to do podcasting and stuff like that. And, it just gets a little frustrating when you're trying to get your point across and somebody keeps over talking you. Now, I know I've done it before. I've gotten a lot better, but my lady's still new to this. So I understand why it's happening. It's still very difficult to deal with. And it's also something that can, distract or disrupt the, normal flow of your show. So my lady and I were talking about it. We've been talking since last night. We had dinner, and today we really haven't done much. We've been sitting around just talking and just trying to figure things out, working through things. No, we never broke up. No, that never happened. That's not going to happen. But, we were talking about a lot of things regarding the modern world and how the modern world has affected, women, how the modern world has affected men and dating relationships and stuff like that. Okay. And that's why I decided to do this stream here, because I'm going to share briefly here, what's been going on in my relationship with my lady. People, know my lady because she's been on my channel now for about 3 months doing shows with me. And my previous relationship before that, not Dana. Many of you that have been following me for years know my ex Dana from years ago from my former channel. This was the one after Dana, before the one I'm with right now. And I used to refer to her out here as my activity partner, but no, she was my girlfriend for a little over a year. And I had mentioned also what had happened with her is, everything was going great. One night, she was at my place. We were in bed, and, there was never a problem with intimacy happening. We always were intimate. There was never a problem with that. And, we were laying in bed after we had gone out for the day. We did a nice walk/hike, went to dinner. And I noticed at dinner, like, she was kind of being standoffish. And, before, we went to dinner, I went to go get some gas, and I was just trying to rub her thigh. She was wearing a nice summer dress. I was trying to rub her thigh, and she was being a little standoffish, kind of like give me the hint that she's not in a sexual mood. And that was the first sign that I saw that something may be going on with her, right? But I really couldn't figure it out at that point. And what happened was, so we went to dinner. She was standoffish at dinner. We came back to my place. She got in her nightgown. I got into my sleeping apparel. And, I went to try to initiate sex intimacy. And she said she wasn't feeling well, right? And I was asking her, hey, what's going on? Let me know. I don't want to talk about it. And, I tried one more time a few minutes later, and then she got up and went to go sleep on the couch. And so I sat there in my bed for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I said, I'm not going to deal with this, right? I'm a good dude. The women I've been with, I treat them right. And this is not fair to me. right? She just walked out of the bed onto the couch, and she's been standoffish all day. And I don't even know what I did wrong. I'm just me, right? And so I go out to the couch to ask her what's going on. And she goes, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm like, you're going to go? What do you mean? I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to, walk out and leave. So yeah, she grabbed her stuff. She walked out, gave me no explanation. When she got home, she texted me saying that she got home safely. And that is the last time I ever heard from her. Now, I didn't try to reach out to her. This was on a Friday, I believe. I didn't try to reach out to her. I gave her space, and that's what you do. You give women space. You don't force things, right? But at the same time, as a guy, you're like, you've done everything right. You're a good dude, good lover. You take the lady to dinner. We would go hiking. She loved that. We would talk at night when we weren't together before, we would go to bed. She would reach out to me after her, day at work. And, Monday came. I didn't hear from her. And, I tried to text her one time. She didn't respond back. And that was that. And so what I chalked this up to is, she was working a job that she really loved. She was a teacher. She was working a job she really loved, but she didn't like the company she was working for, or the owner she was working for. It was a private school, and she was very underpaid. And, she was struggling, with her bills. She was paying her bills, but she was, barely making ends meet, and she wanted a little bit of a cushion. So she decided to go, I said, hey, why don't you go back to school and maybe, get another credential. And so she went back to school to get her master's. And what I honestly think happened was one of two things. Between her schooling and her work, it was taking up so much time that she could no longer give to the relationship anymore, because it was just draining her to do those two things, right? And she didn't want to tell me because I didn't do anything wrong. She didn't want to say, hey, I need to break up with you because, I just don't have time for this right now. And we lived an hour away from each other. And most of the time she would, come to me because, she doesn't have the biggest place. She didn't have the biggest place, and she preferred to come stay with me on the weekends. Now, another thing I thought of, this woman had told me that she was codependent when we first started dating. And you got to listen to what women say, guys, because nowadays, and the same thing, guys go through this too, but it's more so, I see this happening more so to women, especially since women have been liberated, especially also when women get older. And I hate to say this, but it's the truth. As women get older, especially if they have kids and they've been divorced, they have a lot of baggage. They've gone through a lot of emotional trauma, and in some past relationships, some of them have been codependent, right? And so, all of that comes into play, right? And I remember she had told me that early on in the relationship. She had told me about a guy she was dating for like 5 or 6 years. And he was a good guy, but it was a codependent relationship. And what ended up happening was, he had his own business. Things were going great. And when his business failed and went out of business, this guy lost his shit. In essence, I figured he lost his purpose, which is what she was attracted to, plus the income as well. And, that's why she left him. Not because of the income, which she told me it wasn't because of the income, but that does have something to do with it. But it was because this guy lost who he was, and she no longer felt safe and comfortable with him, right? So I was thinking to myself, okay, it had been about 1.5 years or 2 years since she had broke it off with this guy when she started seeing me. And another thing I was thinking could have happened is maybe this guy got his shit back together and, he reached out to her and they talked. And because she was with him for over 5 years, even though I treated her well for a year and we had a good emotional bond, a 5+ year emotional bond is going to be much stronger than a 1 year emotional bond, right? And that's another thing that guys have to take into consideration. You got all these things going on nowadays with modern day relationships. You've got all these things that women are dealing with in addition to, with no disrespect, what their role was before they were liberated over 55 years ago, a little over 55 years ago, like around the 50s and before that when they were homemakers. Back in the days, women were homemakers, and it was a job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't a job. It was a job, and it was a lot of hard work. But that's what women did. They took care of the home, the kids, cooked dinner, cleaned, everything. The husband went to work, busted his butt, focused on his purpose. The husband was the provider. He was also the rock. He was the person of the family that the family could lean on, including the woman. Nowadays, since women have been liberated and they've been indoctrinated into this culture of focusing more on a career than a family, in essence, what's happened is women have started more so exuding more masculine energy than feminine energy. And a lot of women, most of them, if not all of them, they have to exude that masculine energy when they go to work to survive in the workforce and keep their job. But then when they come home to their man, they bring home that masculine energy and it repels strong masculine men like myself, right? And this is happening everywhere, globally. And every single relationship is dealing with this, whether you feel you are or aren't, okay? And that creates a power struggle, which my lady and I are going to talk about this tonight. Because I love my lady. I love her with all my heart and soul. She is my soulmate. And I'm never going to give up on her, no matter what she thinks, right? Sometimes she'll say, oh, you want to leave me, this and that. I'm too much, this and that. Oh, baby, it's a lot, but I love you. I'm not going to leave you, but I want to help you work through this. I want to, work through all of this with you. And at the same time, create great content and coach other people to help them work through this as well. Because everybody is struggling with this. Everyone is, right? Even earlier today, my lady and I were talking, and I said, "Baby, it's like you're almost acting like a man. It's almost like you're trying to wear the pants or something." And I believe in the 50-50 thing, right? I believe that, hey, we should be equal in the relationship. Okay, we should contribute equally, and we should have an equal say. But I told her, I said, there are times where I feel you're trying to dominate things more of the time than myself. And even as a man, I don't feel the need to be the complete dominant one. But if the man isn't at least a little more dominant than the woman in the relationship, it's going to create a power struggle. It's going to create the sexual polarity is going to be off. And when the woman feels that she's stronger than the man emotionally and in other ways, and the man is weaker than her, then she loses respect for the man. And then eventually she'll fall in love with him, maybe cheat on him, and then eventually leave him and find someone else that's stronger, right? And so every time that my lady, who is a product of feminism, all women are nowadays, like my lady has old school roots, but she's been severely indoctrinated into this culture of women's lib, of feminism, right? And here's the thing. If I didn't have the knowledge and awareness and experience of all of this, that I've learned a lot more being out here on YouTube for the last 5 years, being a part of some groups like the MGTOW group. I'm sure you folks have heard of it, Men Going Their Own Way. Then there are the MRAs, the men's rights activists. I was a part of those groups. And while a lot of those groups were very toxic, the message that we learned was very real. And having that experience is is the main reason why I'm still with my woman and didn't walk away. Because if I didn't understand why women are behaving this way, I would have walked away from many relationships by now, including this one. It's not that I don't love my woman, I do. It's not that I didn't love my exes, I did. But most of them at times, or more often than not, they were trying to flex their muscles. They were trying to flex their liberty, flex their independence. And that is the biggest turnoff to any down-to-earth, decent, strong, masculine man. It repels us. And that's the message I'm trying to send clearly to all women out there, right? You got to let the man be the man and you be the woman. It doesn't mean that the man's any better than you or you're any better than the man. What it means is we are biologically different. We are biologically different, right? Men biologically should be more masculine than feminine, should exude at least a little more masculine energy than feminine energy. And women should be exuding at least a little more feminine energy than masculine energy. But what's happening today is everything has flipped. Everything has flipped. You got men that are exuding more feminine energy than masculine energy, and you got women that are exuding more masculine energy than feminine energy, and it's just thrown everyone into a tailspin, right? It's kind of like the dog chasing its tail, right? Right? That's what it's like. It's exactly what it's like. And a couple of reasons, like I've mentioned in the past, and I'll say it again. Then I'm going to wrap this up and get ready for my show on my main channel, Coach Eli, Elias Melas. I'm going to be doing a Walking with Purpose stream. It's probably going to start around 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And it's probably going to end about 8 o'clock. And then my lady and I will come back around, 12 or 12:30 a.m. Eastern, 9 or 9:30 p.m. Pacific here on Coach Eli 2 to talk about the power struggle in modern day dating relationships, marriages between men and women. It's going to be very, very interesting. So one of the main reasons why this happens, I keep saying it, it is because men are not being raised to be men anymore. Men have become extremely, extremely weak, right? And between men being extremely weak nowadays, the majority of men, right? And women rising up, becoming stronger, and then women becoming more career focused in their 20s than family focused, right? Everything has flipped, right? And guys just don't know what the hell is going on. Why? Because no one is teaching these guys what's going on, right? No one talks about this in school. Parents don't talk about these things with their kids. It's up to content creators like myself out here on YouTube to continue talking about this until everyone understands this. And here's the thing. We did a show the other day regarding, how life coaches, are similar, to therapists or, what was that show? Let me not butcher that. Let me not butcher that title because it was a good one. Let me see here. New research finds coaching similar to therapy. New research finds coaching similar to therapy. If you go see a therapist, they're not going to talk to you about modern world dating and why women are the way they are and why men are the way they are. The only place you're going to get that is through life coaches like me out here on YouTube and other social media platforms. And that's where the value is of following someone like myself. That's where the value is. Okay? But a lot of the issues have to do with men not being raised to be strong men anymore. In addition, these men, they still want to be with women. And because of smartphones and, smartphones like this one here, my iPhone 12 Pro Max, right? Let me move it over here so you can actually see it, right? And these dating apps, these pathetically weak beta males nowadays, because they're not raised to be strong men anymore, they go on these dating apps and they just swipe right on every woman, right? And when you have the majority of men out there, 90+% of men are beta males. When they're all swiping right on every woman, desperately trying to get one to give them the time of day, these women get hundreds and thousands of matches, right? And it validates them beyond the stratosphere, right? Right? Further making it difficult for men to find the right woman. Further empowering women. Further giving women more power than they already bargained for through feminism and women's lib. Same thing, right? And that's what you folks don't get, right? This is the truth, okay? I'm going to hit the damn button. This is the truth. Truth bombs! This is the truth. Truth bombs. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll wrap up with this, okay? This has happened to women, for quite some time now, but it's more apparent nowadays. Women go through divorce. They, have a nasty divorce with, their husband. Men go through it too. There's a battle for custody of their kids, right? And after that, a lot of women are struggling to find themselves again. And so what happens is, when us good guys encounter these women in that situation, and I'm saying this wholeheartedly because I don't want to upset my lady or anyone else. And I'm just keeping this real. I love my woman, and I'm not necessarily talking about her. But a lot of these women become something that's been referred to out here on YouTube as DG. DG is short for damaged goods. They become damaged goods, right? Okay? They're hurting emotionally because they lost the love of their life. And maybe they didn't, get the better end of the deal regarding child custody, so they've lost a lot of control of their kids, right? Furthering, their emotions, going the opposite way, right? Further, making it a struggle for them to, function normally emotionally, right? Now, like I've always said, women, respond to everything emotionally first based on how they're feeling in the present moment, right? They're going to be emotional. Women are emotional all day, every day. And like I've also said before, men have emotions too, but the difference between men and women is we're biologically different and we process our emotions differently, right? But for women, they respond to every damn thing emotionally first based on how they're feeling in the present moment. And then they may reason with logic later. For normal men, normal alpha males, we respond to everything using logic and reasoning first and then possibly show some emotion. Now, a lot of women are saying, well, men are more emotional than women nowadays. Yeah, because they're beta males. Beta mon, beta mon, beta mon, beta mon, beta mon. Beta mon providers. That's what they are. They're the beta mon providers, right? And then their wife's going out and banging Chad and Tyrone, right? Chad Thundercock, right? That's what's happening, right? That's the truth of the matter. That's the truth of the matter. I've heard my woman and her mother even say, you men are more emotional than women nowadays. You're right, because those men are beta mons. A real strong alpha male? Yes, we're going to have emotional moments. I have emotional moments from time to time. But I'm not emotional all day, every damn day, 24/7. Right? I may be emotional for an hour a day or half an hour a day. Women are emotional all the damn time, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's the difference between men, normal men, and women, right? And the main reason, in my opinion, why I feel women are struggling nowadays, and it's difficult to deal with women, especially as they get older, if they've gone through a divorce, have kids, etc., and become damaged goods, okay, is because of women's lib. Now, again, I'm not against women's lib, like I've said before. I'm all for women's lib and women being liberated and having equal rights, right? And being able to do everything that once only men were able to do, right? But I ask every single woman I talk to, including my woman, I asked her earlier today, I said, if you had a choice, would you want to work the $100,000 career or have a good man that could take care of you and be a good provider that could take care of all that and you live happily ever after? You had to choose one or the other. You can't choose a combination of both. If you had to choose one or the other, which one would it be? And you know which one she chose? She chose the man. Good answer, babe. Now, I'm not telling you to not work and do the things that, your liberty gave you, but I'm just saying what makes you happy. I asked my lady, what makes you happier? Your 6-figure job you used to have or a good man, right? Because here's the thing, women's lib or not, right? Women's lib or not, women have always been happiest when they're with a good man. And in the modern world today, again, respectfully, to all women that want to work, that want to have, that want to do the same things that only once men did, more power to you. You do you, but it's going to come at the expense of your personal life and your happiness outside of work. And quite frankly, you're going to have to make a choice if you want a family. And I'm not saying to not work, but, if you're a career woman climbing up the corporate ladder, you're going to be less likely able to have the time to have a family, raise a family, let alone, even if you don't have a family, you're never going to see your husband because you're going to be working all the damn time climbing up the corporate ladder. I mean, and that's why a lot of women, like we did a show, my lady and I did a show on Coach Eli too. When was it? Earlier this past week. And what was that? Did I do that with her or by myself? I can't remember. Oh, I think I did that by myself. It was, give me a second here. Where is it? Give me a second here. Oh, yeah, it was called Women Are Getting Married to Their Career Instead of a Man. Women are getting married to their career instead of a man. Go check that out for more detail. But anyway, I got to run. I got to get on out of here and get to my walk. We have 13 people still here. I can't even talk. We have 13 people still here. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to Coach Eli, Elias Melas, my main channel. Naipa has shared the link in the chat, or go to youtube.com/Life Coach Eli. I will be going live there in about 30 to 45 minutes. And then again, later tonight, it'll be probably sometime shortly after midnight Eastern or 9 p.m. Pacific. My lady and I are going to be talking about the power struggle in modern relationships, in modern day relationships between men and women. And if you're, gay or lesbian or bi, the same principles apply, because even in gay and lesbian relationships, there's always a more dominant party and there's always a more submissive party. That's what creates the sexual polarity. So check that out. Anyways, thank you all for being here. Have a good one and see you in a bit on my main channel. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.